Hey there, Carolina from State Adventures, here to tell you a little bit about South African safaris, how things work, what I included for your particular trip. So let me show you the details. I'm going to share my screen. We'll just take a few moments of your time just so you understand the logistics of the trip. So I've planned the trip around July. It is completely flexible. You can choose any dates you'd like, and I will check availability and update it. This trip is private for the two of you. You are not joining a group. That gives you complete flexibility in choosing your dates, changing things around in the itinerary, adding people if you want to invite your friends. If you do that, let me know because then the price will be lower because we'll be splitting services with multiple people and so on and so on. So July 12th, you'll take a flight out of, let's say, Florida, let's say Orlando, and take a flight into Cape Town. So South Africa has a lot to see and do. Because we're crunched for time, I just included Cape Town and your safari. If you are interested in history, in the apartheid, then I suggest we start or end in Johannesburg so that we can go to the apartheid museum. It's super interesting. And it's just another highlight. And then also Soweto is there, which is a township, very famous. That's where Nelson Mandela lived. You could go to his home. So again, just another very interesting spot. But right now we have 4 nights in Cape Town and then 4 nights on safari. Why did I do 4 nights in Cape Town? I know we talked about a shorter trip. I wanted to show you all the fun things that we can do there. If we need to tweak it down to 3 days, we can certainly do that as well. So overnight flight, you're going to arrive on July 13th, and my team will be there ready to pick you up. Big sign, your name on it, private car, and we go right to the hotel. So most of the time when we do an overnight flight, change time zones, it's quite exhausting. So I usually leave this afternoon free at leisure, but I specifically handpicked a hotel called Commodore. It is on the waterfront. So the waterfront, this is a great picture that kind of tells you the idea here. The waterfront is a huge complex of shopping, restaurants, entertainment, nightlife. Everything and anything you can think of is on the waterfront. So this hotel is walking distance to it. It has a view of it. It's really lively. So I love that idea that if you get that second wind, you can walk out, go have a lovely lunch. Food and wine in South Africa is spectacular. It is inexpensive. Our exchange rate is really in our favor right now. So it is a great place to really unwind and enjoy fine dining, fine wine. And I just wanted to touch another point about South Africa. It's easy to travel here. And the reason I suggested for your first safari or for a last minute safari, like for the summer, because there are no vaccinations needed, no visas needed. All you need is your passport. It just needs to be valid for 6 months. So you want to make sure that you don't have a passport that's about to expire. Other than that, good to go. So Commodore is a great property, well priced, between 4 and 5 star hotel. But the location, you can't beat it. So that's why we chose it. And so you rest and you spend the night. Then the next day, and on every day you will see BL, BLD. That stands for the meals that I've included for you. So the next day after breakfast, your private guide, most likely the guide who have picked you up at the airport, will come show you the absolute highlights of Cape Town. There are so many. We can go to Table Mountain, which is this gondola ride for stunning views. We can start the tour with it or end the tour with it. We go to Bo-Kaap, which is a super colorful part, very interesting melting pot of cultures here. We'll go to all the historical sites, the castle, and we will have a beautiful lunch here in Cape Town so that you can just kind of get a sense for the city. What are other places in Cape Town that are really interesting? If you love history, we can go to Robben Island. This is where Nelson Mandela went to prison for many, many years. So we can do a ferry to that. We can do cooking classes. We can go to townships. So there are other places that we can think about going as well. Also, if you know that you are the type who arrive in from an overnight flight and you get that second wind, we can do a city tour on arrival instead of going to a hotel and having a day at leisure to rest. So you let me know what your style of travel is, and we accommodate your needs and your dates and so on. So the following day is a place called Cape Point. This is the southernmost point part of Africa. super interesting, extremely stunning in views. So it's sort of a road trip that we do. And this is a great, actually, a picture because you can see. So we actually go down this road all the way to the most southern tippy point of to Cape Hope, it's called. And along the way, beautiful views, stops, little villages, all kinds of things. So we're going to be visiting all of that. And this is also home to Boulders Beach. And Boulders Beach happens to be home to hundreds of fantastic little jackass penguins or African penguins. So we will be able to come here and spend some time with the penguins. And if you are really active, if you want something special, we have kayaking opportunities here. So we can add kayaking here if you are interested. And then all along this way is our beautiful restaurant. So we have a restaurant in mind that we're going to stop at and have a oceanfront meal for you arranged and included another lunch. And then we return to your hotel. On our last full day in Cape Town, I wanted to show you one more area. So this is again leaving the city and heading down the Cape, the opposite direction. And this is going into that really Dutch German area where wine is produced. Some of the best wine in Africa comes from South Africa. And let me tell you, the wine tasting here is phenomenal. The views are phenomenal and the lunches are beautiful. So what I've arranged here is wine tasting at 3 different places and also e-bike rental. So with your guide, private guide, you're going to go on your e-bikes and enjoy beautiful views, go to the vineyards, have lunch, have some tastings, and really get a sense for these little villages. These are charming. This is actually an area where a lot of my clients will spend 2-3 nights in a beautiful historical little bed and breakfast. So it's another extension or area that we often offer in South Africa because there's just so much to see and do outside of game drives and safaris and wildlife. So that's just a glimpse into Cape Town. Let me know which activities sound interesting, which ones you don't want. Of course, we can do wine without the e-bikes, or we can do a hike in Cape Town to Lion's Head for stunning views instead of the gondola, and so on and so on. So you let me know and guide me what your interests are, and I will tweak it and make sure everything matches. And then we are off to our main event, which is our safari. So South Africa is home to Kruger National Park. This is one of the most protected national parks in the continent of Africa. And this only means that there is an abundance of wildlife here. The Big Five is here. Endless amounts of species and smaller species of animals, birds and species. And then also, of course, a ton of cats. So leopards, cheetahs, lions, they are all here, all in this national park. The park is massive. It is quite popular to split your time between different parts of the park. Some of them are private reserves. Some of them are parts of the national park. So there's a lot of things going on in Kruger National Park, but one thing that is for sure is that you will see an abundance of animals. It's just impossible not to. This is actually my first safari experience many, many years ago, probably 15 years ago now. And within the first night, we were surrounded by 16 lions. Within the first 24 hours, we saw the Big Five, and it was just more and more and just so amazing. And I've been back many times since then and really got to experience different parts of the park. So the way it works, we will take you to the airport in Cape Town, fly you to Hoedspruit, which is just one of the airstrips or airports inside the park. And we will have the lodge pick you up. So the Motitla River Lodge has their own 4x4 Jeeps that they will come and pick you up from the airport. The flight is quite short, 2.5 hours, and you're in a different world for sure. So the lodges, it doesn't matter if you go high end, mid-range like this one, they are quite luxurious. Beautiful food included, all your game drives included, activities, and of course your beautiful rooms. So the whole idea is so you have somewhere to really rest, decompress, and spend majority of your time outside in the game drive vehicles. The reason I love offering South Africa as your first safari experience is because you are never in a car more than 3 hours if you don't want to. There's morning game drives, there's afternoon game drives, but you come back to the lodge to eat, you come back to the lodge to rest, go to the pool, do some other activities, as opposed to other places in Africa like Kenya and Tanzania, where we spend 7, 8 hours in a vehicle at all times. We bring a picnic back, lunch with us, and there's just a lot more driving on dusty roads. So I love South Africa for that because it gives you this wonderful experience and it's not exhausting. So, Moditla, once you arrive and you're going to check into your hotel, they're going to serve lunch right away. And then you're going to kind of rest a little bit, get to know the lodge, and head off on your afternoon game drive. So the game drives are always in these open vehicles, which let me see if I put a picture of the vehicle for you. Yeah, they're just like this. They're open vehicles. Sometimes they have a little sunscreen on it. Sometimes they don't. The lodge provides the vehicles, the guides, the scouts, everybody that comes with you. The guides, the rangers are usually photographer fanatics, so they will take some amazing photos for you, and you head out on game drives with them. So you kind of plan it out. You always have the same ranger, or at least they try to make it that way so that he knows what you've seen, what you still have on your list to see, and the scouts, which sit on the roof of the, not the roof, but the front of the car, they actually usually go out really early in the morning to start scouting for tracks and things like that to see where the animals are so that it's easier for you to find them later. Fantastic experience. These men are professionals and women. I have to say, there's plenty of women now being rangers, but you will see the elephants, you will see the lions, you will see zebras and giraffes and rhinos and all kinds of wonderful animals. So the idea is you're going to spend 4 nights there. That gives you so many opportunities for game drives. But besides game drives, we will do things like have a hot air balloon adventure. So one of the game drives will be skipped, and then instead you'll go to the dock where they will put you in a hot air balloon so you can see it from a completely different perspective. And then I also arranged a visit to the rehabilitation center. So because it's such a protected area, there are animals sometimes that are still found injured by poachers or orphaned or, just injured in nature. And so they will be brought to this rehab center, and we never know what animals are there. Sometimes there's babies, sometimes there's a rhino, sometimes there's a white rhino, which are super rare. So you never know what you're going to see. Maybe it's an injured elephant or something like that is being brought back to health and then will be released. But it is such a wonderful experience because you see them out in the wild from the vehicle, but then to come face to face is just completely, a full experience for you. And that's it. So after 4 nights on safari, July 21st, we will take you back to Hoedspruit, and then you can fly back to Cape Town or Johannesburg. There's 2 airports, and fly home. So I was just checking flights from Florida, and Johannesburg works better because it's usually Johannesburg, maybe Atlanta, Orlando, Johannesburg, London, Atlanta, or sorry, London, Orlando. So one stop would allow it for you to come home. So anyway, that is how the trip would work. Let me know what you think about the dates, what you think about the lodges, if there's any tweaking that you need to, that we need to touch on the touring. I'm more than happy to help. Thank you so much for listening. I would be so thrilled to have you travel with us. And thank you so much. Happy travels.